This video from Florida is pretty wild. It all went down at this strip club in Tampa Bay around 1 a.m. on Sunday. This surveillance footage shows a security guard just outside the club when a man in red walks towards the entrance. He has a flashlight in his left hand and a handgun in his right. The security guard notices just as he opens the door and jumps in. The two wrestle over the gun as bystanders on benches run for cover. The gun falls to the floor as the two continue to struggle, and it's now clear the gunman was wearing a devil mask. The security guard is able to recover the gun and points it at the gunman, but the gunman continues to fight. Another security guard finally jumps in to help, and the gunman is subdued. It turns out the security guard, Manny Resto, is actually a former professional wrestler.
I knew I was in a fight for my life. I almost went unconscious, but I kept myself. I wasn't going to let this happen. I was not going to let him win. He was not going to hurt nobody.
Police aren't sure what the man intended to do, but it's not unlikely that he was going to carry out a mass shooting because they found more ammunition and knives in his car.
You know, the first thing that came to my mind is what happened in Orlando at Pulse. And having these two here to take that heroic action, could they have prevented something like that? I definitely think so.
The gunman has a long criminal history and is being held in jail without bond.
Man, shout out to this guy for being, there at the time this happened, because if he wasn't there, who knows what had happened. He had like 20, 15, 10 rounds to be able to do some mass destruction, but as we saw and seen, he had on a mask which thankfully made it to where he could properly see what was going on. He got on a devil's mask with some black whatever over his face, so you wasn't seeing nothing in that. And then for the fact that he had knives and other ammo, now I wonder if he would have done something here and was able to get away, was he gonna go somewhere else and do the same thing? In East Lansing, it was just a guy with a knife who had, attacked a restaurant person because of whatever argument they had. So just let y'all know, be careful out there.
911 emergency.
I have somebody stalking me around town, and I do not appreciate it.
Who is it that's stalking you?
Taylor Swift.
Travis was born on the 1st of February 1989. He was from the small town of Morton, Illinois. After school, Travis got a job with the family business, working in the construction sector. It was around the year 2014 that he started to hear things and see things. In 2015, he went to a Taylor Swift gig. During that gig, he saw Taylor Swift mouth to him. He became completely obsessed with Taylor Swift after that. He started to believe they were boyfriend-girlfriend, that she was speaking to him, talking to him, sending him messages. He began writing letters to her. Taylor, I'm really confused right now. I don't know if it was you in the pictures on Instagram or someone who looks like you. Do you really have a twin sister? Which is the one I'm in love with then? It was in May 2016 that his parents called the county sheriff asking essentially for help, saying, here, listen, we need to take him to a hospital. He resisted, but he went eventually. He was in for about 9 days, and the doctors were like, well, you are diagnosed with schizophrenia. You're good to go, pal, take care, champ. He got his, the medication, but he was not taking shit. A couple of months later, he moved to Salida, Colorado, and he lived there from August 2016 to the following March 2017, working in the crane industry for a family friend. There, people would say he was a nice, polite, friendly guy who was obsessed with Taylor Swift. He was now saying she had done the old switcheroo and she was hacking his computers and breaking into his apartment. He eventually left after he believed the police were in on it too. He moved back to the apartment in Tremont, and 3 months later, he approached an employee of his father's business wearing nothing but a pink dress and carrying an AR-15, screaming. And then later that same day, he went to a public pool when the police were called. Well, he took off all his clothes and he just showed them his...
My parents had me taken to a mental institution for looking for Taylor Swift. This is where I live, this is where I reside, no one can come in here. The toilet seat is up on my toilet. I haven't put my toilet seat up. I know for a fact that this toilet seat was down. I know for a fact that the toilet seat was down. So somebody has been coming in here.
In February 2018, in Alcoa, which is 3 hours east of Nashville, the police were once again called on Travis Reinking. A young mother was staying at a motel with her 2 small children, and Travis was right outside her room. He was shouting and roaring, claiming that, you know, people were stalking him, people were harassing him, people were like outside his room window looking in. So he then burst into her room and he started threatening her.
Literally ran into our hotel and tried to hit me.
Hey man, what's going on? The reason I'm here is we just got a call from, I think it's room 125, that you went into the room without being invited in, basically.
No, I didn't never go in.
The lady, she declined to press charges, and Travis left.
You're saying one thing, she's saying something different, so it's he said, she said at this point. I'd recommend just, you know, if you're going to try to get out of here, find you another place, alright? So, alright man.
Then, in the early hours of May 22nd, 2018, Travis, that dark night, he pulled into the parking lot of the Waffle House in Antioch and watched. After 4 minutes, he got out with an assault rifle. He opened fire at 2 people standing outside. One was Joe Perez Jr., who had stopped by because he had a flat tire, and another was Tareen Sanderlin, a cook who had stepped outside for a smoke break. Then he began shooting into the restaurant, and he marched in, firing all the way. Some hid in the bathroom calling 911, some played dead, others tried to get into the bathrooms, but the doors were locked. Ultimately, 4 people would be killed by Travis that night. Joe Perez Jr., Tareen Sanderlin, D'Ebony Groves, and Aquila De Silva. It would have also been a hell of a lot more if not for the extremely brave actions of one of the customers inside, 29-year-old James Shaw Jr. When Travis burst in, he ran, but he slipped as he ran towards the bathroom. A bullet had grazed his elbow, and so when Travis got in there, James lunged for him. He grabbed the rifle by its red-hot barrel, completely scalding his hand, and he managed to struggle with Travis, ultimately winning and tossing the weapon behind the counter. They then wrestled for a bit, Travis lost his jacket, and then Travis ran outside. Travis then booked it into the woods nearby. The police were late arriving, actually, because they went to the wrong Waffle House, but when they arrived, the scene was absolute carnage. The truck, it was identified quickly and linked to Travis right away. It wasn't much of a whodunit, and then the manhunt began.
According to witnesses, the person of interest in this matter, a Travis Reinking, the police department special response team, is up now trying to find him.
Residents were advised to lock their doors, the dogs came out, the whirlybirds came out, and Travis even made it briefly to the FBI's 10 most wanted.
He's in behind the elementary school, headed towards the TVA lines in the woods.
Travis Reinking was arrested and charged with the 4 murders along with a host of other charges. In August 2018, Travis Reinking, he was deemed incompetent to stand at trial. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia. However, the judge later reversed what the psychologists and the psychiatrists said and deemed him fit to stand trial. He was like, you're good enough. He was indicted on 17 counts and he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. His trial began in early 2022. His defense, rested on he was not mentally well.
The Travis Reinking is severely mentally ill. You're going to hear expert testimony to talk about a 3 to 5 year period leading up to that night.
We, the jury, unanimously find Travis J. Reinking for the offense of premeditated first-degree murder guilty.
He was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thank you so much for watching. As always, take care of yourselves, because I love you.
That's messed up. That guy did that to them people, man. Just for the simple fact, his folks said he had issues, And when you start saying some shit about Taylor Swift said, I love you, and she looked at you and said it, my boy, all them celebrities said they love you. Shit, everybody who think you a good person and you get them, feeling some type of way, nowadays people say they love you. And even back then people said they love you. So she loved her fans, because guess what? they making her money. They supporting her, feeling her music that she put out and everything that she about. So, of course, she love you. She love y'all. And they should have known right then and there something was wrong with him. And they should have had his ass on the FBI high alert watch list for doing some stuff like that. So y'all be careful.